Today's recipe is going to be for Masoor ki dal. I personally think this is one of the most underrated dishes ever. You can pack so much flavor into dal, it's crazy. Okay, so for the Masoor ki dal, I'm going to make a mug full. So that's enough for about 4 or 5 people, so my masala will be according to that. 2 small onions or one of these huge sized ones, 3 tomatoes, garlic ginger paste, all of your masala, salt and oil obviously. That will be for the first part when we're making the actual dal. And then for the tarka, a small red onion, garlic cloves, chillies, cumin seeds, and I use desi ghee to do my tarka, but you can use butter, oil, whatever you prefer. And then for garnishing the dal, coriander and lemon. First step, thoroughly wash your dal until the water fully runs clear. Make sure you're doing this properly because you don't want that horrible taste in your dal afterwards. After that, you can go ahead and soak your dal. Best thing about Masoor ki dal is you don't need to soak it for half a day like chana ki dal or anything. To be honest, you don't even need to soak it. It still cooks really well. Next step, you can go ahead and dice your onion. This does need to be diced as finely as possible because you don't want big bits of onion in your dal. Then heat your oil. I use less oil in this part because we're going to be using more ghee or butter in our tarka. So go ahead and heat the oil, add in your onion and let that brown. While our onions are browning, we can go ahead and dice our tomatoes, again as finely as possible, because that just makes the pruning stage a lot quicker. Once your onions are almost golden, you can add your garlic and ginger paste. Your onions should take about 10 minutes to get to this color. So I'm adding 1 teaspoon of ginger paste and 1 teaspoon of garlic paste. We're going to fry those out for another 2 minutes until the raw smell has gone. Now you can go ahead and add 1 teaspoon of garam masala powder, half a teaspoon of haldi powder, 1 heaped teaspoon of dhania powder. My dhania actually ran out here, but make sure it is a nice heaped teaspoon. And then 3/4 of a teaspoon of zero powder and 1 heaped teaspoon of chilli powder. We want to ensure that our masala are not burning, so we're going to maybe fry these for about 2 minutes before adding in our tomatoes. One thing, just make sure that your masala are not burning. That's why it's good to prepare your tomatoes as early on. So yeah, go ahead and add in your tomatoes, and now we are going to bhoon this mixture on a high heat. By bhooning, I essentially mean allowing all of our ingredients to come together and for some oil to come onto the surface, as you can see with my masala there. At this point, we can add in our dal. We're now going to allow our masala and our lentils to fry together for about 7 to 10 minutes. This will really ensure that we're getting all the flavor packed in. Next, we're going to add in boiling water. So I do this as a 1:3 ratio. So I used 1 mug of dal, therefore I'm going to use 3 cups of boiling water. So do make sure you weigh out your dal and you weigh out your water. Once the water is in, give this a good mix, put the lid on and put the heat down to low. We can now move on to making our tarka. As you can see now, I've prepared my tarka ingredients. So I've heated around 3 tablespoons of desi ghee, and to that I've added my very thinly sliced red onions, and I'm allowing those to brown out for about 7 minutes. With tarka, it is really about timing. You need to ensure that you're really watching the tarka, you're mixing it the entire time, and you're frying things out for the right amount of time. So I would say onions 7 minutes, green chilies around 3 minutes, and then very finely sliced garlic takes around 4 minutes to get nicely brown, but you should have a look at it, like keep looking until you think that it's nicely browned on both sides. At this point, you can put the heat up on your dal and you can take the lid off. This is because we want our dal to be really hot and our tarka to be really hot when we combine both of them. So when we add the tarka to the dal, you'll hear like a shh kind of sound. That's how you know that your tarka and your dal are at the right heat. So now I'm just trying to see if my garlic is nicely browned, and at that point you can see that it is, and you can add in your cumin seeds. So I've added around 1.5 teaspoons of cumin seeds. Cumin seeds you only cook out for around 30 seconds. Now I've added my tarka into my dal. And now once I've mixed it, I can see that the consistency of my dal is exactly how I want it. If your dal is too thick or too thin, you can cook it for longer if it's too thin. If it's too thick, then you can add in more water. For me, I like my dal quite thick, so I've added in my coriander and my lemon. I've now mixed all of this together, and I'm going to put the heat down to medium and put my lid on so all of the flavors are really soaked in. And that is your dal done. Serve with rice and a lump of
आ रही हूँ आ रही हूँ